Welcome everybody to more Heroes of the Storm action here on KhaldorTV. We have our next game coming up and this is going to be an amazing series. We're going to have a lot of fun here. We are going into the winner bracket final of the Enter the Storm tournament between Bob and ATN Fancy. We already saw both of these teams of course in the winner bracket and both of them played amazing games. And now we have our first map in this best of 3 encounter. It is Tomb of the Spider Queen. And the funny thing here is that ATN Fancy, who already did extremely well on this map against Virtus Pro, was able to draft nearly the same composition. Johanna Muradin for the front line, and you already guessed it, Zagara and Sylvanas. So they are trying to use the exact same strategy that was victorious against Virtus Pro. With ATN Fancy, of course, going up against a very different opponent right now. Bob is very, very strong. And Bob is actually like playing this with a Zeratul plus Kel'Thas. They have also Kharazim again as their healer. And we are seeing them with a double warrior setup going into Arthas and Anuburak. So the first game here, as usual, is going to set a bit the pace of the game. If you win the first game, then of course you can just like experiment a little bit more in game number 2. You have a bit more opportunities there, and there's not as much pressure on you as if you're losing the first game, you have to win 2 in a row. But this composition, this is something that, well, Bob must have seen already. They were able to watch the games earlier. I'm not quite sure if they were scrimming during the time when ATN Fancy was playing their series against Virtus Pro, but they should have seen what's coming. They're at least gone over the drafts, but this is the exact same draft that ATN Fancy got before, with the exception of the healer, which they had to swap out. So it's going to be pretty cool to see how Bob is going to try and deal with it after Virtus Pro already lost against it. So guys, let's just jump right into game number 1 without further ado here in Tomb of the Spider Queen. Game number 1, everybody, in the winner bracket final of the Enter the Storm tournament. Well, the tournament, of course, is not finished here after this one. We still have the grand final happening, and that is happening on Sunday, so tomorrow. But, of course, the team that wins it here will already advance to play in the grand final. A best of 3 series between Bob and ATN Fancy. And to the left side of our first map, Tomb of the Spider Queen, we have Darkmog for ATN Fancy on Zagara. And Crosby on Sylvanas, the same setup that they used against Virtus Pro, where they were victorious in the semi-final. We have Get Amherd on Rhaegar, Nurok on Johanna, and Blumby on Muradin. The right side of the map, Thera Angel playing here on Anuburak, Zarmany on Arthas for Bob, Kel'Thas played by ADRD, Snitch on Zeratul, and Bakery again on Kharazim. Already the team's going straight for the big fight here in the mid lane, and yep, it's a 5 versus 5. Zagara pressured back here, but you can really tell with the talents that on the side of Bob we have a lot of Regeneration Master talents. Mana Addict, of course, coming into play now too for him as well. And currently, as you can see here, that's Spirit Walker's Grace for the mana reduction on Rhaegar. We have the bad boy in the game. And we have also, again, the Shadow Dagger talent. Lost Soul here on level 1, so that later on in the game, together with the Cold Embrace, they can make sure that they have the extra damage and Curse can burst down a target. And of course, until then, Shadow Dagger is still pretty awesome to get the structures and a few of the waves down. So that is really important here as well. Blumby is moving back. We have Nurok and Get Amherd in position as well. Crosby on the way too. It's the rotation between the mid and the top lane that's really important on this map. We're trying to get control over the turn-in spots. And a kill at the bot lane against the Anuburak. ATN Fancy taking a slight lead here. So yeah, really well done. Get Amherd is already in position for this now as well to like take over, while Zagara is moving back to get her mana and hit points back. But a pretty decent start here for them. And so far the rotations in general from ATN Fancy on this map were actually like extremely good. There were a couple of games that they played against Na'Vi as well, where they excelled with their rotations and also with the laning in general. Now we have Nurok in the mid lane together with Blumby. Snitch is waiting for a bit of extra damage against them, yeah. Baiting out that Iron Skin on Johanna. But for now, ATN Fancy is doing well. They're also in position where Blumby is eating even a bit more damage, but up here at the top, Zarmany finds himself in trouble and might wow, he could have actually died of this, but just barely keeps himself alive. The rest of the team, though, is still trying to rotate between the 2 lanes. They're doing pretty good here so far. But still, we have, for now, both of the teams roughly on the same amount of experience, but you can really tell that there's a slight advantage to ATN Fancy, playing this quite aggressive. They were the dark horse going into the tournament. Teams knew that they were strong, but nobody knew exactly how strong they were. They took down Na'Vi in the first round, and in the second round in the semi-final they defeated Virtus Pro. Now they face off against Bob, who took down Team Liquid. Bob was successful against Team Liquid with the 2-1. So yeah, this is going to be a pretty intense battle between the two teams. And the loser bracket is currently stacked in this tournament as well. Like, the games that we're going to see here are absolutely sick. Darkmog already to the left side, still pushing that bot lane. Zarmany with his Arthurs and Frozen Tempest can always counteract those creep tumors and make sure that Zagara is not getting too much control over the bot lane. But it's of course always a bit troublesome to go up against the Zagara. She's a great laner, and well, in this case, not so much about the laning, it's more about Kel'Thas being a bit far out, and that is an opportunity that Alternate Fancy takes immediately to secure another kill for the team. 2 kills against 0, and thanks to the tank line that they have, they are also now pushing these lanes back even further. They have great control over the 2 turn-in spots at this point. We're seeing them with Sledgehammer for Blumby, who's dropping that immediately to also reduce the ammunition on the tower and put some more damage in. We have also, well, not really any talents that are like out of the ordinary. It's kind of interesting to see that Snitch again went for Regeneration Master instead of the Seasoned Marksman, which is extremely popular on this map, but we've already been talking a bit about how the talent is not, well, it's not really disappearing, but a lot of the teams are starting to focus a bit more on the sustained version of the melee assassin. We have Nurok up here at the top. Oh wow, he nearly got locked down, but Iron Skin just in time, and already Snitch moving back. It was actually kind of interesting. When you were talking to Zeratul players like Blackscorp, one of the reasons that he would cite when you asked him for his opinion on the Regeneration Master talent was that he feels oftentimes you do not really need... Oh, actually, ooh, mid lane, Nurok! Wow! Bakery jumped in for potential kill, but Iron Skin just came off cooldown. The fight isn't over yet, though. Zarmany was low, but Blumby and everybody else inside of Alternate Fancy gets away. But yeah, as I already said, like, one of the reasons, or one of the things that Blackscorp said about it is that he feels mana is more an issue for Zeratul than anything else. I was still referring to the times when auto-attack Zeratul was not as popular as before, but you still are trying to supply all these extra damage points thanks to the abilities that you have. So for most of the Zeratul players, it's actually more a mana issue where you would move back to the fountain or to the well instead of just hit points. So that's why a lot of players feel they don't really need to go for Regeneration Master. It's more about like damage, and then you move back. Talking damage, ADR is receiving a lot of that, and he gets dropped, but it looks like it's not the only kill. Nope, Nurok on... yeah, well, wow. Nurok actually with his move also dropping Arthurs, and Bakery died, and wow, I mean, Alternate Fancy, what the hell? These boys with the level 7 talent that they just secured, they are suddenly using... They have no Conviction Cleanse, we have Unstable Poison taken here, they have the Piercing Bolt for Muradin, and it's kind of insane to see how well they're doing. Darkmog even went into Endless Creep, even though he's up against an Arthurs, and they are playing extremely well. They find themselves in a solid lead in experience, and now with the Blue Web Weavers descending, they are probably going to be able to even widen the gap between the two heroes here. Zarmany already starting to move in. We have at the top lane Snitch with 45 gems. He collected most of the gems that were dropped by his allies. The level 7 talents also bringing him, in this case here, first aid. So yeah, he's trying to take a page out of the book of Blackscorp. What he did when Blackscorp went up against that triple warrior setup that Bob used in one of the games against Team Liquid. We don't have Triple Warrior against them right now, but there's a lot of damage they can tickle in with that Shadow Dagger and a few other talents that are being used on the side of Alternate Fancy, and apparently he's worried about that. So he's really going for a very sustainable version on Zeratul. A bit of more damage would have probably done him a lot of good against heroes like Sylvanas and also Zagara. So personally I think that Seasoned Marksman in this case might have been the stronger talent to take, since there's quite a few squishies on the side of Alternate Fancy. But that's the least of their problems right now, because they are getting wrecked in this case. They are 2.5 levels behind already, and we're having more Wailing Arrow, Ancestral Healing, Divine Shield and Avatar taken. They even need to move back because Alternate Fancy, they just don't stop. They don't stop, they move in at the bot lane, and they are about to drop tower number 2. They break through the wall here, and they are not even stopping now. A 3-level lead, down goes Kel'Thas, Ethereal Angel is low. What is this? 7 minutes in, and they go for keep. Is this quick match or what's happening here? They drop the well, and there's nothing they can do. Look at this, they're moving out to get experience and turn in gems. That's what they're doing right now. Down goes the keep 7 minutes into the game. Zagara, Sylvanas, plus Johanna, it's too much pushing power. They cannot stop it. It's a 2.5 level lead, nearly 3 levels. They're about to turn in, but Blumby is already there, and he's just like waiting for somebody to appear to hammer them into the ground. And they could theoretically go even for the fort in the mid lane. But over here, Blumby, again with the Stormbolt, no chance for Zeratul to turn those gems in. They're moving in again, and like, guess what? Khaldor, he is moving to the left, completely isolated from the rest of the team. ADRD is gonna die for sure. Can they get another kill against Bakery? Maybe. He's dashing away in the last second. The more used, doesn't catch anybody, but it was only for zoning either anyways. It is insane. Alternate Fancy. What's going on with these guys? They are wrecking house right now. This is brutal. This is absolutely brutal. Level 10 any second now, finally, for Bob, and they need it. They were up against the heroic abilities for way too long, and it really showed. They have to make a massive, massive comeback happen if they want to win here on Tomb of the Spider Queen. They have the heroic abilities now. They are 2 levels behind. Divine Palm, we're seeing Phoenix, there's the Army of the Dead. Void Prism, and well, last but not least, I suppose that we are going to see the Locust Swarm for an Uberak. Are they really going to go for Cocoon here? I guess Locust Swarm is most likely the talent that he's going to try and rely upon, and that's exactly what's happening here. Now come the Web Weavers again, and with those Web Weavers, there's going to be another fort that falls. If Zagara and Sylvanas move in with the Web Weavers, then the fort is the least of their worries, because at this point it looks very much like we might see another keep fall. If they get level 13 with that push now, and they will, then they can take this even further than they already do. The bot lane is being pushed, level 13 is ready for Alternate Fancy, and that gives them now the healing surge on Rhaegar. We're having the Mutalisk for Zagara. They can just go to the top lane. They're trying to take down the last fort of the game here. Hold your ground with the evasive fire taken, and for Muradin, well, Muradin has actually carried a couple of choices here. Could even go, nah, why go for passive talent? Screw that, Thunderstrike it is. Could have gone into something else, maybe like even something like the Spell Shield, but yeah, they just go through the last fort and they are moving up to the top to drop now also the wall at the keep. In the mid lane, we have already seen some damage, but yeah, up here at the top with a 2, nearly 3 level lead, they are bursting through tower number 1, they are focusing on the gate. There's Zagara there, we have Sylvanas disabling everything with a Black Arrow trade. Zeratul is trying to turn in and finally gets the first turn in for his team. They have enough gems to turn in again if they really wanted to, but this is just a brutal start into this best of 3 series for Bob. Definitely not what they expected, but they're trying to turn it around. A massive Void Prison, oh my god, that's so damn sexy. Doesn't get any better than that, and they're trying to follow it up, but they have very little to contribute here. More used, and goodbye Khaldor. Khaldor's dead, and he's not the only one who's gonna die here, is he now? Darkmog is low, so is Get Amhead. He's getting healed in the last second. Zarmani was trying to follow this up, but he's getting eliminated now as well. So all of a sudden it's a 5 versus 3 situation. A lot of these boys are super low, but it doesn't really matter too much. If you drop 2 of the targets, 9 kills against 0, then you have a lot of momentum. We're having Crosby taking down that top Web Weaver in the mid lane. There's also a move starting to go in. Darkmog and Blumby are already there. Snitch is on the way to, well, do what? There's very little that he can do. I mean, we have 36 gems right now on the side of Alternate Fancy, but the Web Weavers are still there, so you can't turn in yet. Even afterwards, there's a couple of seconds that you have to wait, so he doesn't really have to prevent anything. Zeratul is just waiting for an opportunity to maybe do some damage. The talent lead is still there for Alternate Fancy. They got one of the keeps, and they are attempting to just like take the camps on the map. There's only one up right now, so that's the one that they focus upon. There's a boss as well, of course, but you don't really want to go for that just yet. They could, though. I mean, they are like 3 levels ahead in an entire talent. You could go for boss once that your rogue abilities are up again. So, right now, we have in the mid lane the teams waiting for a potential turn-in approach again. 18 gems have been turned in, and there's Blumby trying to get rid of those 14 that he collected. Down here, Darkmog with a vision. Zagara needs to be careful. There's like, oh, the attack by Athero, and Darkmog barely survives. Unbelievable. Silence against Bakery, and he cannot jump away. But he has this Divine Palm up. Yes, Divine Palm was trying to get a kill in here, jumps away, loses 15 gems in the process. A bit too greedy. It could have worked out. I mean, if it works out, then he's the king of the game. But as it didn't, it looks a bit silly. And, well, it's just like, oh my god, you were a bit too greedy in this case. So, yeah, underestimates this a bit. And now they are, like, 2 talents behind. Level 16 versus level 12. Cold Embrace, Tidal Waves, Stoneform, Hunter, the Hunter-Killer talent with the Brute expansion, and for... Yeah, good question. Is it going to be just more damage for Johanna because they can Blessed Hammer? Are they going to go into Imposing Presence here? That's actually like a really good question. They could even go into the additional Iron Skin trade if they wanted to. I mean, Johanna can do basically whatever she wants at this point. They have still a 3-level lead. The level 13 talent is now kicking in for Bob. Gives them Chain Bomb. I mean, at least they have Chain Bomb now, so that helps a bit. But it's still pretty tricky here. They also have more damage now on Arthas himself with a Biting Cold. But the boss is now attacked up at the top. And with a 3-level lead and that level 16 talent, I don't think there's anything that they can do about it. They're trying though. They're trying to move in, but guess who is dead? Yes, it's Arthas. Oh my god, that perfect Maw in the backline. Look at that Ancestral Healing here. Great play. And Nubarak and Arthas dead. And this is going to be another team kill. Yeah, they're gonna get snitched too. No chance to escape here. Oh, actually, jumps away. And I don't think they saw him. But I don't think they have to, because they can just simply drop another keep. I don't think they can core it right now. The death timers are too low. We're only 13 minutes into the game. But they can definitely move in and take another keep here. And alternate Fancy. They are just amazing today. I mean, the play from them. Oh my god. Like that Maw that we saw up there. The perfect Maw isolating 2 heroes. Keeping 2 for them to kill. And now another keep is eliminated. The Web Weavers are now descending. And the top lane is being pressured as the bottom Web Weaver is aiming straight for the core. Up at the top lane, this one is already delivering the damage. Down here, they have to make sure that the core is not going to lose the shields, that there's no opportunity for Alternate Fancy to move in, and this is just an absolute brutal game for Bob right now. I don't think they expect to get wrecked like this. They fell way too far behind in the early stages of the game, and then this map just snowballed against them. There's a pretty decent Void Prison though. They're trying to make something happen, but Anubarak is losing a lot of his hit points and his life too. Zarmany, the only tank at the front line, and he's also under a lot of pressure here. Gets just barely healed by Bakery. Ancestral Healing keeps for now Muradin alive. He's going deep for a potential kill, but they get the keep and didn't lose anybody just yet. Norok barely survives, but he does. Not a single kill in this game for Bob. They lost 16 heroes, 16 kills against 0, and they didn't kill anybody. Not one. Absolutely amazing game here by Alternate Fancy. The snowball in the early stages helped them to get a huge grasp on the map. The problem that Bob really had was that once they fell behind, they did have a 2-level disadvantage as level 10 hits, and that means you gain the map control, you get Web Weaver Wave after Web Weaver Wave, and the team with level 10 can then also push in very hard, can dive a keep and a tower just because they have the heroic abilities and they know their opponent doesn't. So normally at the beginning of the game, you really want to try to stay as close and experienced to your opponent as you possibly can, because it's very difficult to make up for a lack in heroic abilities. Again, we see Anubarak shredded into the ground. I mean, like, he moves just like, he just tries to look what's in there. He just moves in and he gets stun locked right away. Has no chance to escape, has no chance to do anything, and gets blown to pieces. 18 versus 15, and well, with all the keeps gone, Bob, they know they have to try, but they also know that it is an effort in vain. They lose everybody. 19 kills against 0. Snitch is jumping in, jumping out, wormholing his way into these fights, but there is just no chance for him to actually make an impact here. He's trying to get a kill, but that is the boss, and with the boss, they should probably be able to end the game now. Again, especially if Snitch dies. He has to use the Void Prison in the last second to save himself. Gadamhead was trying to drop him off the Hearthstone card, but that didn't really work either. What a game. What a brutal slaughter we just saw there. We see Alternate Fancy turning Tomb of the Spider Queen into a graveyard. 19 versus 15 the levels right now. They dive deep. The boss goes through the tower, takes it down. No level 16 abilities just yet. Nurok low, Ethereal Angel about to die again. Divine Palm saving him for now. That helps. Snitch is attempting to get the kill in there, but he doesn't. And the boss is just hammering down on the core. And this is the last stand of Bob. They lose Kel'Thas. They lose Zarmany, or do they? Oh, he's extremely low, and they should lose him here. They lost to Nubarak, but Sylvanas, she dies. Feeder confirmed. So at least they get a kill out of this and don't lose the game without taking down a single target. So yeah, Sylvanas dead, but that's the only thing that they accomplished here. 22 kills against 1, and Alternate Fancy with the lead in the best of 3 series here at the winner bracket final of the End of the Storm tournament. Oh my god! Bob gets slaughtered. If you thought that Virtus Pro was getting spanked by that composition that Alternate Fancy played, then this game was even worse. Unbelievable. Again, they get ahead in the early game. Again, Alternate Fancy hits level 10 way faster than their opponent. They hit it when Bob was at level 8, I think. And from that point on, Zagara, Sylvanas just zerked down these lanes together with the Web Weavers, and they just crushed these structures. The first keep falling at 730 or something like that. Unbelievable. The momentum that Alternate Fancy was able to build up here, and they completely destroy Bob. Alternate Fancy is in the lead in the winner bracket final here, and that was definitely not the game that Bob envisioned when they were starting this series. Crazy good game from Alternate Fancy, and of course they are in high spirits right now. The map choice is now Bob's though. They lost the last game, so they have the map choice. They decided to go into Haunted Mines, which is of course amazing as well, because how often do we actually get to see Haunted Mines? And in this case, we have now Bob with Jaina and Kel'Thas for damage. So they're trying to go into both of the mages to get the damage in here, and we have Muradin and Arthas, which they highly prioritized on this map, where of course the first few mines are extremely important. And then looking at the setup that we're seeing for Alternate Fancy, we have them with the Zagara here, an amazing hero for Haunted Mines. We have also a Nubarak plus Tyrael, two very aggressive heroes that can jump into the backline. Karazim for the heals, and Avala for just like solid reliable damage. So two very cool setups, good lineups for both of the teams here for our second game, where Alternate Fancy might even be able to claim a 2-0 victory against Bob. Bob is of course going to do everything they can to redeem themselves after that first game and come back into the series to force game number 3. But well, we're going to find out together if they can actually make that happen. Haunted Mines coming up next here at the winner bracket final of the End of the Storm. Game number 2, everybody. After we saw a total stomp in the first game of the winner bracket final here at the End of the Storm, where Bob got spanked pretty hard, I'm pretty sure that they play standing now in game number 2, because they won't be able to sit after that spanking. We now see Haunted Mines, the map choice of Bob, and this is their chance of redemption. So to the left side of the map, we're seeing Zagara, played by Darkmok. We have Nurok on Nubarak for Alternate Fancy, Crosby on Vala, Get Amher this time on Karazim, and Bloomby on Tyrael. To the right side of the map, it is Bob, a team that actually played extremely well in all of the matches that they played so far in the tournament, with the exception of the last one. We have a Thero Angel on Muradin, Zarmany on Arthas, Bakery on Rhaegar, AD on Kel'Thas, and Snitch on Jaina. The one thing that I really want to say though about the last map that was played is that if you're going up against the Zagara Sylvanas composition, which was played on the last map, then one of the big problems that you have is if you fall behind around level 10, and that is exactly what we saw there, then you will oftentimes just like lose against the snowball, because that level 10 that we saw on the side of Team Alternate Fancy, combined with the pushing power of a Zagara and Sylvanas, is just a little bit too much to deal with when your opponent has the heroic abilities available and you don't, and they can go deep. So that's one of the reasons why Bob was just obliterated the way that would happen in the last game. For now though, looking at the game right now, we have a quick drop or a reconnect here that gives us a bit of time to talk about the talents and also about the map in particular. So for now we're having an auto attack build on Vala. Vala on this map, like a lot of the fights, you have basically like two parts of the map. First of all, you have the upper part of the map where it's all about like the pushing power again on the lanes. You want to have a few heroes that have lane clear. Zagara is really good for that, Johanna for example as well, which got banned in this case. But when we are talking about the mines down here, then it's all about the team fights. Of course, you want to be able to take down these camps as fast as you possibly can, and there's a few heroes that can really do that. I mean, basically all of the heroes that we have some kind of capability to take down these skeletons. AD with a Flame Strike, Bakery with a Lightning Shield, Snitch with a Blizzard, Frozen Tempest on Arthas, and then also the Thunderclap for a Thero Angel with Muradin, just to name the few on the side of Bob. But it's all about the team fights down there in the mines when you're really trying to go up against your opponent's team in a 5 versus 5 situation. And this is one of the reasons why we're actually seeing that focus during the draft on Muradin and also Arthas, which just have that tanky front line that can really take these heroes down. So this is going to be a pretty exciting game, I feel. For the longest time, Kel'Thas was actually a hero that you didn't see too much on the map, just because his power spike on level 16 hit very late, but that was at the times when Ignite was still a thing. The talent got taken away from Kel'Thas, and now it's more about the living bombs than anything else, so he will spike a bit earlier on level 13, and that makes him more viable on this map now. When we're looking at the talents, there's not really a big like change. One of the things that you can maybe criticize is that we still have 2 Regeneration Master talents taken, because this is one of those maps where oftentimes you will not end up getting too many globes just because you spend a lot of time down in the mines and you won't really be able to pick up too many regeneration globes. So usually over here on one of the lanes you can pick up a few, but then you have to head down into the mines, and this is why oftentimes we see a block on a hero like Arthur's instead of the Regeneration Master. For a Nuburak we could have seen a Beetle build there, but the two of them still rely on the regeneration talents in this case. Zagara has also a few options. Oftentimes it's still a reconstitution on level 1, but on this map we quite often see the roach talent picked as well, so that the roaches take less damage from structures, for example. It really helps to drain the ammunition, and that's one of the things why you oftentimes see, for example, even an Abathur on a map like this. Normally the rule of thumb for an Abathur player is that you want to play in a map that is as big as possible, so that you can really use the ability to just burrow everywhere on the map and get split experience. But if you have an Abathur here, and the fight in the mines actually takes a long time, then those extra locusts that you spawn will drain the tower ammunition, and that will later on allow your own golem to do more damage over there and ensure that he's not going to be taken out right away. So that's a few of the things that you really have to consider here. Draining tower ammunition is something that is really awesome, and if you can claim one of the towers early on, it's just going to make your own push so much stronger. Normally we have a focus to push your own golem lane. In this case though, both of the teams are banning the idea, and the reason is Zagara. Zagara is going into the Roach challenge, by the way, so thank you very much for making me look good here. But yeah, Darkmork has Zagara, she has great pushing power, and with Anubarak and the Beetles, they're deciding to push the bot lane in this case. So they have to meet that challenge, like they have to meet that attack. 5 men and the bot lane, by the way, and that forces one of them to go up to the top where Bloomby is already getting a bit of experience. 1 or 2 creeps will die in the meantime, and that means a bit of experience is already lost to Bob. It's not going to be too much, so it's not going to be them falling behind here. But right now we're having them in a situation where they are basically equalizing each other, neutralizing each other's pushing power. So at the bot lane, as long as you don't lose too many hit points here and mana, you're going to be in a solid position. Athera just jumps on top of that creep tumor and crushes it like a pimple. So Muradin is just doing his job here. Nurok, Crosby and Darkmork, Gadamhead, they're all just waiting for the mines to open. And oftentimes you will see the teams try to join up before that happens so that they can enter the mines together as 5. And currently we're having Aethero Angel and Nurok. Yeah, well, they're also at the bot lane, but we still have Arthurs up at the top. So right now with them, they are in a position where they well, the Arthurs will go in alone, I suppose. The rest of the team is rotating over to the top, but only 4 heroes down here entering the mines for Team ATN Fancy right now. We have the same happening at the top, but it's 5 heroes over here. Bloomby is still getting some experience, but that fight down there could really turn against ATN Fancy. They don't have Tyrell with them. Tyrell is just now moving in from the top, but Nurok is already extremely low. That's not the start into these fights that you want to have. So Darkmork is moving to the right side. They're just like trying to play a bit of a 2-arc, trying to get as many of those skulls as they possibly can without even engaging into a battle, and they've been doing well. We have more skulls for them, and Bloomby is actually securing even more for them right now. He went up to the top and made sure that they get a few more here, but the stun could really take him out, and there's ADRD, and he is going to provide a gravity lapse if need be. And they are dropping Tyrael. Tyrael is down, and that now means that they can go for boss. The problem that they have is that there's a big push happening with Zagara, and this is exactly what I've been mentioning earlier. If you drop your opponent's towers, then you can do a lot of damage there. The problem, again, for alternators though, this is the wrong lane. Their golem lane is the top lane, so killing these towers is going to help them later to really push the fort in. But when it comes to your own boss, then you need to push the other one. Then you need to make sure that your boss has an easier time, and that would mean they have to push the top lane, which they don't do. They lose now Anubarak, and that is another big issue. Up at the top, yeah, well, there's 4 heroes just waiting for them to emerge, but to be honest with you, that's 5. Well, that's actually a 4 versus 4. Jaina went up to the top, and Kelthas doing the same thing. So now the bosses are going to spawn in a few seconds, and the big problem for ATN Fancy is that they are way behind in the skull count. 66 against 34. We now have also Manticore taken. The 4 abilities are pretty much what you would expect. We're also now having, well, Arcane Intellect taking over a Snowstorm, but given that there is, of course, a lot of sustain that you need during those mines, and therefore mana regeneration is important, that isn't a big deal. The camp taken at the perfect time. You always want to take the Siege Giant camp when your opponent's boss is just passing the fort up here. That means that your own Siege Giants will stand behind the gate, protected, and do damage against the golem and therefore help you out. So that's exactly the perfect setup that we're seeing here. So in case that you weren't aware of this small trick, always make sure that you do not take those Siege Giants before the golem passes the opponent's fort so that you get the maximum amount of defense for it. Down to the bot lane, we see the same thing happening. So the Siege Giants are behind the gate, are protected right now, and both of the teams are currently just like trying to defend. In this case, actually, it's the red team looking for potential push, because you always want to push with a stronger golem. Unless there's a Sylvanas on the board, that's a very good rule of thumb, and that's exactly the one that they are following right now. They go through the wall, up at the top lane. This boss is going to be defended against just by the Siege Giants. But down here, they have a shot of moving in, but it is Khaldor that is in trouble. ADRD is super low, and he gets dropped. Again, Athero jumps away, but that's 1 kill against 2 now in favor of Team Bob. At least for now. Level 7 talents are going to be ready any second, and it is a big push that is moving in at the bot lane. Those Siege Giants are still alive, and Zagara is going to try and help out with that. Searing attacks on Vala, with now battle momentum for Tyrael, who went into Smite on level 1. Went straight for Purge Evil for the extra damage, and then for Amplified Healing. We also see battle momentum, by the way, for Zagara, and she's going to be able to get a lot of Hunter Killers out then later on in the game for the damage down there in the mines. Of course, Arthur still has his little side job there where he needs to take down creep tumors, and he's so far been doing a pretty decent job. I mean, like, the creep spread, there is still some creep spread on the map, but it's pretty insignificant. It's not really giving them too much control just yet. At the top lane, we still have a few of those ready though, and they not only scout out those bushes, but they also, of course, help Zagara to have a bit more lane sustain if she moves to the top lane. The Icelands on level 7 with a cooldown reduction. But for now, we have also an attempt to go for a Nubarak again. The teams are not even bothering with a camp here in the mid lane. This is like the weakest camp on the entire map. If you can take it and there's nobody contested, hey, by all means, go for it and grab it. But especially when you're playing like Hero League or quick matches, a lot of players don't realize how insignificant this camp is. It moves onto the wrong lane, not on your golem lane, and it's actually like a camp that usually doesn't really have a huge impact, no matter what happens there. If you can grab it, hell yeah, let's do it. But the focus that some people really put on it is completely out of proportion. So it's more the Siege Giant camps that really matter. If you want to steal something away, steal the Siege Giant camps. Don't go for the Bruiser camp. The mine's opening in another 19 seconds, and currently a few of the heroes already moved down here, so just waiting it out. They are trying to steal as many of those skulls as they possibly can. Level 8.5, it's a little bit better actually for the blue team, but here comes that fight again, and it's on even talents once again. The two teams rushing in already, with Zarmany up at the front line with a Frozen Tempest, trying to lock somebody down with a Howling Blast. No level 10s yet. Skulls are being collected by the blue team, but they are about to lose Bloomby. Athero Angel, on the other hand, is also extremely low. So is Zarmany on Arthur's. He's stopping again, but he is getting blown to pieces. And this is ATN Fancy with a double kill. They get the kill against Khaldor. Nurok is low, but he escapes, and this is a really bad spot for Bob to be in. Bob, they are out of the mines, and they have no chance of actually moving in. Darkmog is camping the entrance. Everybody is moving in here. Athero is about to get dropped, just barely escapes, but they are trying to follow it up with even more damage. Darkmog is going back into the mines right now, where the rest of the team is already waiting for Bob to go down. No elevator games just now. 43 skulls have been taken, and even more are going to end up in the hands of Team ATN Fancy. Zarmany is at least able to secure a few for them, but the story is still the same. At this case, or at this rate, they are going to fall way behind in the skull count, and that's not the only problem that they have. They find themselves in a situation where that level 10 ability is going to end up in the hands of their opponent any second right now, and you can already tell at the top lane that the idea of Alternate is to use that to move in and drop the opponent's fort. We already have Divine Palm taken as a Rain of Vengeance for Vala, Locust Swarm for Nubarak, and a Maw in this case for Zagara, with Sanctification for Tyrael completing the setup for the heroic abilities, and they are an entire level ahead again. They move in and they drop that fort. Their golem is going to have an easy time walking up to the keep of their opponent. The only thing that Bob is trying to do right now, for a second at least, they were thinking about moving in and trying to do the same thing to the fort at the bot lane, but we already have the pressure up here at the wall, and this is just something that Alternate Fancy has been doing in the first game, and they do it again. They exploit that level 10 advantage mercilessly. Every single second counts, and they go through that wall. The boss will not even have to bother about the wall there. Both of the towers are nearly down. Level 10 is just a few seconds away for Bob, but they lose so many structures here already. And the boss hasn't even lost a single hit point yet. 65 skulls against 35, and they go in with everything they have. They haven't even used their heroic abilities just yet. This keep could fall again. It could fall this early in the game, and we haven't even reached the 10-minute mark. No level 10 just yet, but just look at the keep. It's losing hit points. They are moving in with Zagara, with even more moves, trying to put those roaches in. Finally the level 10 for Bob, and they immediately try to turn it around. Nice Raid of Vengeance here. The Maw already applied to. Sanctification was used by Tyrael, but here come the bombs again. They are pushing them back. ADRD is already not pursued and uses another Flame Strike to put the pressure on Gerd Amherd, but he is still alive here, using the Divine Palm, of course, too. Gerd is low and he dies, and it's not only going to be him. Crosby's about to fall as well, and they are locking down Tyrael. Blumby, another kill, a triple kill already. Nurok low. Is there going to be a death call? Jaina is eliminated though, so it's a 3-for-1 in the end. The Tyrael explosion took her down, but the boss went through the keep. He's going for core. He's not going to be able to drop the core, of course. He's probably not even going to be able to go through the shield with ADRD there and applying the Phoenix now. But there's an attempt of Bob to go for the counter aggression. They took the fort at the bot lane, and now they are trying to at least go for an exchange. If they can claim the keep, that would be amazing, but all of the heroes are back. The death timers are just not long enough to allow them to move in and take this. So it's level 12 versus level 12. Water Elemental, Ancestral Healing, Army of the Dead, Avatar and Phoenix have been picked as the heroic abilities on the side of Bob, but they lost their keep already, and that means that the boss is going to spawn right next to the core. So in this case, the next phase of the mines is going to be super important, and we still have a slight lead in experience for Alternate Fancy. They have nearly level 13, and once that they hit level 13, they find themselves in a spot where they can use that extra talent and maybe dominate another phase of the mines. But by then, I suppose we're going to see also level 13 ready for Bob, so the next mine phase could decide the game. It could definitely decide the game. If, again, we're seeing... well, actually, level 13 is going to be the talent where ADRD is going to get his chain bombs. But if we are seeing Alternate Fancy with a victory in the mines on the next phase of the objective, then it's basically all over. Very passive talents, by the way, now taken on the side of Team Alternate Fancy. Going into a double spell shield against the Kel'Thas bombs. There's, of course, also Jaina to consider, so 2 mage heroes. That makes it very worthy to go for it. Again, the aggression down at the bot. 13 talents against 10. It's crazy how well Alternate Fancy is playing these fights. I'm loving it, really. Every single second counts. They go in every single time that they have an opportunity to just like carry that advantage. And they do the same thing again. So Ethereal Angel and everybody else, they're rotating again. By the way, Tyrael went through the mines. Now in the mid lane, we're having this camp taken. There's Fighting Cold, Healing Surge, Chain Bombs, and I suppose for Muradin, could we see the clap again? Or is he just simply heading into something like Burning Rage? Which is an option for him. Yes, he is. He goes for Burning Rage here. And now the mines are announced again. They're already down in the mines and they're starting to move in. They're trying to lay a bit of a trap. And if they can move to the top, well, not in time. Crosby is still there, eliminating a few of these minions. But here's the battle, and this is the one that really counts. This is the one that could decide a game. Is Bob able to fight down here and win the fight? Nurok getting rather low, but Zarmany lost most of his hit points already. Needs to get healed with an Ancestral Healing, even though he used the Army of the Dead. But he just doesn't have the cooldown here. Locust Swarm also applied. Nurok burrow charging away in the last second. He was about to drop here. Zarmany once again up at the front line with the Ethereal Angel pushing the back and using his stuns once more. Gerd Amherd living bombs everywhere. And Karazim is trying to heal them out, but there is still so much damage on the side of Bob. The problem for them is that they are running out of hit points as well, and in comes Nurok once again. They're trying to burst him down. ADRD is in trouble. Oh, the stas is nice. Gerd Amherd keeps himself alive with the Divine Palm, but they still lost the Nubarak. But it looks like Bob might lose this. Everybody is so low. Tyrael, he wants... oh my god, he nearly killed one of them, but he couldn't. Gerd jumps away with a dash and a Thero up at the top. He could stun them out again, but they only get Gerd. 5 here. Oh my god. 3 kills against 1. And the skulls end up in the hands of Bob. The game isn't over just yet. Bob, they are fighting tooth and nail right now. Every single inch counts here. They're doing what they can. They are super low and they know it, but they have to grab as many skulls as they possibly can so that even if the boss ends up in the hands of Alternate Fancy, they're not going to lose the game to the Golem. They already do whatever they can here. Every single skull counts. They're at 61, and they have Zagara getting followed now by the Water Elemental, but also Crosby moving in, and Snitch and Aethero Angel are extremely low. There's nobody else though, and Crosby might have asked for a bit too much trouble here. Can they get the kill? Crosby! Yes, he dies! It's going to be at least an exchange. It all depends on... Oh my god, Norok. Norok with a miss on the stun. Wouldn't have mattered too much, I suppose, but now they fight a 4 versus 5 again, and they are just rushing away. But Zarmany with a flank. Zarmany is flanking and is pushed away. The boss is still there. There's still another 30 skulls that they can theoretically get, and they are already trying to drop it. Vala is down. 9 kills against 5 in favor of Bob. The Phoenix for the zoning. Now Alternate has to move around. 72 skulls already. Now they take even more. 75, 79, and they're going to get all of them, aren't they? Yes, they are getting every single skulls. 91 against 9 and nearly level 16. If Bob now gets level 16, then they might be able to turn this around. It looked so bad for them. It really looked like they are going to lose the game here. But at this point, at this pace, they can really try and force this into a third game. They are taking the experience points that they need, and they're already starting to threaten the bot lane. Can we see really an attempt to go for core by the opponent's team here? That's the question. It looks really like Alternate Fancy is trying to... They're trying to threaten it. They're really trying to go for the core here. We have AD already moving back. I don't think that can work, can it now? There's already a few catapults. Well, that might work. Already more damage against Bloomby. They're going for it. They're trying to drop the core again. Amhead is extremely low. He needs to be careful. Bakery and everybody else is already rushing in. The boss is trying to push through the bot lane here. He's about to drop the key, but over here the core is already losing hit points. They have the level 16 talents and they're using them right away. The boss is going for core. The core at 70%. All the heroes except for Vala are still alive. Gadamhead is getting dropped, about to be dropped. Uses the Divine Palm already. 40%, 40%. Oh, 3 heroes down, 30%. The catapults are still there. Nuruk is alive, 20%. And there's the Tyrael explosion, 19%. And the core is still alive. And the boss down here is trying to go for it. 17 versus 15. We have Frostmourne feats, damage abilities, backdraft even used by Khaldor. They just went for everything that they had in terms of control. Northern exposure now on the side of Jaina. At the same time, Stoneform applied. And here comes the combined power of Team Bob. Only 3 seconds on Zagara, 5 on Karazim. They're trying to go for boss. The golem is still there. 91 skulls, and they are trying to drop it. This is looking pretty good for Bob. Bob might be able to make it. They're going straight for the right click. Zagara is dead again. The boss is hammering down on the core here on Haunted Mines, and it's going to be a tie. GG, and Bob, they come back into the series. They drop the core, tie it up, and force game number 3. What a game. Unbelievable. Haunted Mines at the beginning. It's again Alternate Fancy. They have such a lead there in the match, but Bob never giving up, and they were able to just like hold on to the game. They fought tooth and nail there, and they are able to turn it around. At the end, of course, that desperate attempt by Alternate Fancy to go for core, since they already realized the boss had way too many skulls, was way too strong for Bob, and therefore they said, like, guys, the only chance that we have is if we go for core right now and try to finish it. Bob defends, they do a great job here, turn it around and claim victory on Haunted Mines. The series is tied, and we're going into our third map, which is Sky Temple, to find out which team will advance to the grand final and which team is going to fall down into the losers bracket. And as it happens, the War Chief is back. We have Thrall back to business. Thrall is being played here together with Muradin, with Johanna, Kel'Thas, and also Karazim by Alternate Fancy. They liked the hero in the past. They oftentimes play him actually against even Illidan's, and they really like to use him here. And now they do it again. They are relying on the War Chief in the last game of the series. And when we're looking to Bob, we have once again Zeratul plus Jaina in their composition. And they played even more aggressive than that. Not only do they use these two damage dealers, they throw in a Zebu in for good measure, have a single tank at the front line, and are trying to win this last game with it. I'm super excited for the series. I hope that you are too. The last game coming up right now, Sky Temple, the last map between Bob and Alternate Fancy. War Chief action at the end of the storm. The last map between ATN Fancy and Bob, and Thrall has been picked. The green Jesus is played from ATN Fancy. To the left side, Darkmorg is playing Thrall with Nurok on Johanna and Blumby on Mirrodin, talking about a very melee heavy setup as Get Amher jumps on Karazim for the heals. And we also see Kelthas played by them, by Crosby. To the right side of the map, it's Team Bob with a solo tank in this setup. A Thero Angel on Leoric. He's going up against 2 warriors and a melee assassin, and he's the only one. We have Zarmany on Jaina, ADRD on Nazebo, and Bakery on Rhaegar. Snitch is playing Zeratul, who, if you think about it, is also a melee assassin, but he's a bit more on the squishy side. He's a very stealthy person. A very shy person who always tries to hide, and we already have Thrall with a seasoned marksman here. A Thero Angel, they are looking for an opportunity, well, these guys are looking for an opportunity to kill somebody, and Bob is basically just looking for the opponent's team, and now that they have found them, they're moving back immediately. So Sky Temple is the last map. We are in the winner bracket final of the End of the Storm winner bracket, and this is going to be pretty sick. One of these teams will drop to the losers bracket, and the other team will wait in the grand final for their opponent. A pretty damn good series so far. In the first game we saw an utter stomp by ATN Fancy, and the second game on Haunted Mines was just so damn close. It was absolutely crazy. It was brilliant. Loved every second of it. And now we're seeing Thrall played against Zeratul here on this particular game. The last map that we see between these two teams. So Darkmorg at the bot lane going up against ADRD. We're seeing in the mid lane Johanna against Leoric. That's usually a pretty good setup for Leoric, since he can use that Drain Hope talent to make sure that Johanna is not going to have an easy time there. Already Snitch making sure that up at the top that Watchtower stays in the hands of Bob. The red team doing quite well here. No seasoned marksman for Zeratul again. Snitch has been playing him the entire day without seasoned marksman, no matter the map, even on Tomb of the Spider Queen. But Thrall is going to try to go for that extra damage in the later stages of the game. And ATN Fancy in general is a team that really likes to go for Green Jesus. So currently we have already in the mid lane a bit of a battle here between Nurok and Snitch now. There's one temple taken by Bob and the one up at the top lane by Get Amherd. Usually Karazim, if he's being picked, is the hero that is trying to take care of these temples, since he has a lot of self-sustains thanks to his attacks, and therefore is easily able to take a temple without losing too many hit points. The bot lane, this is where both of the teams are still trying to get the experience. We are having in this case ADRD against Darkmorg. Nice trap here, but level 4 is hitting a bit faster for ATN Fancy, and therefore we are seeing everybody rushing away from the temple. Bakery getting a little bit low, but can well up again and keep Zarmany alive, at least for now. So Jaina not dying here. They're trying to steal a few of those shots away. And with level 4 we have now Thrall with Envenom. We're seeing in terms of the talents also the Hardened Bones for Leoric, and again Arcane Intellect on Jaina, who wants to have some additional sustain during these fights, so mana is going to be quite important. Feral Heart, of course, taken by Rhaegar. For quite some time, Shadow Wolf was a bit of a thing on the European server as the level 4 talent, especially when you went for the mana reduction on level 1, which is the case in this game. But most of the players went back to Feral Heart because it's just the better talent to give you some sustain during the fights and in general on the map. So it is currently the superior talent. Down here, Darkmorg with again a lot of action against ADRD, rushes in with those wolves and tries to lock him down. And this is a big threat right now. ADRD is rather low in hit points, and he needs to be careful. Once you get locked down by Thrall, you are in a bit of trouble. Mid lane pressure with the Thero Angel, and that's one of those things there where he could actually help with, like, the temple itself already did a fair amount of damage here, but a Thero Angel can now try to do that again. And the potential, oh, the double kill in Venom kills Nazebo here, but Thrall gets taken out by Snitch. The cool thing though for them is that they're still in position to soak the experience here, but Nurok is already rotating to the bot lane for ATN Fancy to make sure that they're not missing out on any minion kills. So in the mid lane again, Crosby attacked. There comes the Drain Hope. Yeah, he's on half HP, but there was no real risk of him dying. At the top lane, we have Blumby going up against Zarmany. But you can really tell that these two teams, they have a lot of respect for each other. One kill for a kill. We're seeing again the reduction on the cooldown with Ice Lance on level 7 for Jaina. There's also the Ghostly Reach. Toad build for Nazebo with the poking, and Snitch still sticking with that sustain build that he uses here. With the level 7 first aid, so not going for, well, he goes for 1 damage talent. He goes for focused attack, but no follow through, no seasoned marksman, but he will be able to survive in these fights a bit longer on his own. ADRD talking about survival, he's most likely not going to make it. He's getting blocked already, and there is just too much damage, especially with now also that level 7 talent. The Wind Shear allows him to move in again. That cooldown on Wind Fury is heavily reduced now. The teams went straight for, at least one team went, well, both of them actually went for the Bruiser Camp, but the one on the side of Alternate Fancy was taken a bit earlier, and therefore it's already eliminated. Blumby could be eliminated here as well. He's trying to jump away, but Zarmany is already cutting him off, and goodbye. The temple at the bot lane is just completely in the hands of Alternate Fancy, though. So right now, we have a situation where they are actually not even trying to go for the temple. Instead, they are soaking the lanes, and they're also going straight for experience here, trying to push those back. They rotate over then, regardless. I find that a bit weird. Like, if you want to go down and contest those shots, then you should probably do that a bit earlier. They took Muradin down, and that was a good start. But they lost already quite a few shots there. Thero Angel is still on the temple together with Gadamhead. If they can get a kill right now against Norok or Crosby, that would be amazing. But Gadamhead dashes away. Zarmany was rather low and needs to move back for now. They get the last few shots, so that helps them, but they already lost the fort at the bot lane, and none of these teams committed to a mule. They didn't even have the chance to do that. Well, they could have. No, actually they couldn't. After Mule got removed from Nazebo, he can't really use that talent anymore. There was a lot of talents that got removed. Level 13, he lost Sprint as well. To the top lane, Nurok and Darkmog are currently trying to deliver level 10 again faster for Alternate Fancy. And they're really good with that, aren't they? In the early stages of the games, their rotations and their play in general usually gives them the faster heroic ability. They've been constantly able to put that on the board on every single game that we've seen so far between the two teams. And now we have Sundering, Divine Palm, Phoenix, Avatar and Blessed Shield used. And what are we going to see for the opponent's team? I mean, in just a second, Bob is going to get those talents as well. We can see them to the right side here with Gary the Gargantuan taken. The Void Prison, the March of the Black King. We also have Ancestral Healing and Water Elemental. So pretty decent situation here. Again for... well, at least in this case it's a bit better for Bob. I was just about to say that the situation for Alternate Fancy is pretty good since they can again push the top lane. They know that Leoric is down here and they dive deep for this one. Nice use of the Void Prison in the back line. Everybody is still alive here. They're trying to push them back. Sundering already used. Buys them a few more seconds to go for the fort. And they secure themselves another kill on the structure. Really well played. 2 forts down and nothing killed yet by Bob. They move in to take down Muradin, but he is back with hit points again. Great Divine Palm here by Gadamhead. And also Norok up at the front, the kill against Nazebo. And in those fights, the coordination is just miles better on the side of Team Alternate Fancy. They get a triple kill out of this. They took the fort, they dove deep for the drop against the structure, and they get a triple kill out of the situation. It looked for a second like Bob was pretty confident that they could take down Muradin. But that happened to be an illusion with a Divine Palm coming into play. He was back to business and he ate all of that damage and then some. So right now we have level 12 versus level 11. And both of the temples are ready. It's a 5 versus 5 again, but it's a level lead that we are seeing on the side of Team Alternate Fancy, and they've been playing a crazy good game already here. We also have in the late game Thrall going to be an even... he's going to be an even bigger menace than he is already, since he has Seasoned Marksman. He's going to gather up these stacks. At this point, it's not really too significant just yet, but we're going to talk about that in the later stages of the game. Both of the teams really trying to go for the temples now. The bot temple is completely ignored. They're both going straight for the middle, and here comes that fight again. Snitch already putting the pressure on the Darkmog, and down goes Thrall. They're trying to drop AD already, but a great heal from Bakery keeps him alive. The Ancestral Healing going through, and now they are focusing Norok. No, Johanna getting Divine Palm. Nobody's attacking her. Oh my god, no! Norok keeps himself alive here, but only for a few seconds, and then he gets dropped. There was a pretty cool coordination on the side of Bob. In the end, Divine Palm still applies, but yeah, they get their kill, and that's all that they wanted to have in this case. Level 13 talents are going to drop very, very soon, though, for Alternate Fancy. Blumby at the bot lane is jumping away as a Thero Angel is already threatening him with the Drain Hoe. Both of the temples, though, end up in the hands of Team Bob. As Snitch again trying to put some extra pressure onto Blumby, and as long Blumby goes to the well and wells up again, but both of these shrines are going, or both of the temples are going to end up in the hands of their opponents right now. So right now we have to the bot lane, level 13 versus 13, and still a few shots left. The Thero is trying to fight for those. Level 13 talents with again Grace of Air for Wind Fury taken by Thrall, and Thrall is moving in with extra damage against the Thero Angel. Could have gone for Giant Kill on level 13, decided not to. Instead it is the Wind Shear talent, and they're jumping in again. Oh my god, Sundering being used here now as well. They disengage with the Void Prison, and I guess Bakery will have to use his Wolf form to get out of this one. The Wraith Walk already used now as well. So with the Frostwolf Resilience taken, or the double Frostwolf Resilience, we have a bit more self-sustain for Thrall. He's going to be able to just go deeper in these cases. A few shots at the bot temple were still secured for Team Alternate Fancy, so they were at least able to get a few out of this. But we still see only the mid fort taken out by Team Bob. And Bob went now into Crushing Hope on level 13 on Leoric. We're also seeing them with the Toad build, of course. Toads of Hugeness after the level 7 talent that we've already seen before that. Healing Surge is going to make it easier for Bakery to get those numbers out. And nice heal for Aethero. March of the Black King driving Alternate Fancy back. They're jumping in again, and this time Alternate Fancy is on the run once more. Snitch is starting to move in, and he's about to drop Norok, but great Divine Palm used again. Gatham Head, on the other hand, has only one, doesn't have two of those heroics, and therefore he's the first victim in the battle. A 5 versus 4, and they are on the run once again. Bloomby has no opportunity to get out of this. He was in cooldown on his Dwarf Toss, and therefore another kill for Bob. Bob is back with a vengeance. They're still a bit behind in experience, but they have an opportunity to go for boss, and they're about to take it. It's a 5 versus 3, and Bakery can heal them all again. Nurok and Darkmog are still waiting there, but they have to be careful that they're not being taken out as well. Bakery is rather low, and he doesn't have a lot of mana. The more time he spends in wolf form now, the more mana regeneration he has. Karazim is already back to business. This is getting really close. It's getting extremely close. Aethero is about to die, and he is down. The boss is down as well, and they claim it. It was a decent trade after all for them. Boss against Leoric, I guess that's alright. But it could have been way worse for Alternate Fancy, and now they have level 15 versus 14. And the boss is, of course, a big danger to the bot lane. Might even drop the fort. But it at least gives some map control, at least for now, to Team Bob, and they rotate around now to get their own experience up. They could even go for the camp over here and take the Bruiser camp. We have Muradin in the mid lane moving away as Aethero Angel is resurrecting. 7 kills against 6, and you can really tell that this is the last map. I mean, both of these teams, they give their all here. They are bringing their A-game right now. We have another fort eliminated, and Gary being dropped again. The Gargantuan is moving in. We're having ADRD and Zarmany just like moving away for now, and even Bakery moved up to help them out here. The level 16 talent is going to hit in just a few seconds, and they are trying to go for the temple, but first they are bursting down the camp over here. The level 16 talents are ready for them. Down here, Aethero is in position. We see again Rending Cleave used. We have the Tidal Waves together with Numbing Blast and Renewed Swing. Combos, of course, very well with the Ghastly Reach here. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of damage he can dish out. But we have the 16 talents also ready for Alternate Fancy, and that means another big battle down here at the bot lane with the Tempest Fury now taken for that additional third strike that we see. A big focus on Wind Fury in general now on the side of Thrall. And Thrall is going in for this one. He's really putting the pressure on Leoric. There's the heal, Ancestral Healing on the single tank. It's a solo tank play that we're seeing here. Circle of Life for Karazim is going to get a lot of hit points out. Nice heal at Aethero Angel, and a beautiful Void Prison. Able to isolate well, not isolate, but lock down 4 heroes, and therefore they keep Leoric alive. And there's so much pressure on Aethero Angel in this game. If you are playing a single warrior setup against this heavy front line that Alternate Fancy is using, then you know that you are under a lot of pressure throughout the game. And they try to steal that camp away here. Once again, they're jumping in. Gat is extremely low, so is Darkmog. Alternate Fancy is jumping away. They give up the Siege Giants. The Temple still has a few shots left. And we're seeing at the top lane, this Bruiser camp still pushing. It's one of the things that they completely ignored. A kill against Johanna is already initiating this. Nice dash here from Gatham Head, but he was slowed down as well. Has to use that maybe again to escape, but Darkmog is assisting him here with Wolf. But the problem is that he himself now has no chance of survival. Down goes Thrall, the War Chief eliminated. 8 kills against 7, and the bot lane claimed by Aethero Angel. Bob with a pressure play against the keeps. They're going straight for the keeps right now, and they are trying to drop the one at the bot lane. Up to the top, Gatham Head at least eliminating that Bruiser camp, but they lost one of their towers. And down here, it looks like they might lose now a keep as well. There is still a 5 versus 3 situation, and those Siege Giants are also a really big threat here, but the Temple is already delivering most of the damage. The keep is still alive though. The keep is still there, and now they are joining up with the rest of the team. There's nearly a level lead that we're seeing for Bob, but this game is far from being over. The bot lane has been pushed the entire time, and there's not a single keep that has fallen throughout the entire game just yet. Up to the top, Nurok is starting to move in for additional experience. The level 20s are going to be the next big milestone for both of the teams. Zarmany and Bakery are already there. Taking a bit of a look at how many seasoned marksmen stack, we have 24 right now on the side of Thrall. So he has quite a bit of extra damage, 14 minutes into the game. Not as much as he would probably like to have, but it's still a solid amount of damage that he can dish out. He needs to take a few more of these waves down though. And we see him with 30,000 hero damage already. That means that he rivals Kel'Thuz's damage against heroes at this point. Zeratul on the other hand is at 15,000. He's down here to the bot lane and is sneaking away again. There's also Nurok who's just waiting for a shimmer somewhere so that he can use his condemn. The top lane is being pushed by the Bruiser camp that was taken a few minutes earlier by Team ATN Fancy. And both of them are just waiting for the next temple phase. And of course for an early kill, Snitch was very lucky that he got away from this one, and Nurok was waiting the entire time to try and lock him down. And they go for the fort now. A bit more experience now in the hands of ATN Fancy, but there's still the lead for Team Bob. And the bot lane is going to get pressured very soon. And actually in this case, there's not too much damage that you need to apply to the keep until it finally falls. Those temples is also something that we're going to see soon. 8 kills against 7, and there's the temples. Temple in the mid lane and another one up at the top. And level 19 versus level 18. They rotate down to the bottom, they take a mercenary camp just at the perfect time so that they can push the bot lane while the temples are still up. Already Aethero is just waiting for the swing, using it once, using it twice. They go in with the Jaina damage, and Zeratul is trying to join up with them. So is Kel'Thuz. Both of the teams assembling their warriors to go straight into this battle. It could be the last one of the game. No level 20 now. No level 20, and Aethero dies before they can heal him. Ancestral healing not going through, and that means that they are starting to miss out on a few shots down here. Zeratul move back to the top to make sure that they're at least going to get these one, and that drops a few additional structures up at the top lane, but the experience gap is getting close. ATN Fancy, they are doing their best. Again, shots in the mid lane. They're just trying to chase, like they're just rushing around and trying to get the temps, and a kill against Crosby, potentially Divine Palm. Oh god, keeps him alive, but yet Amherd is now about to die. Leoric is back to business, but Nazebo is down. Both teams now with 4 heroes in the fight. The bot lane still being pushed by that Siege Giant cap, and level 20. Any second now that level 20 talent is going to be ready for them. That's the big thing that they need, and there it is! And Kel'Thuz is dead. A double rewind, Bolt of the Storm, and double Bolt of the Storm even. And we also see now the Hardened Shield. ATN Fancy is losing hero after hero. Karazim is dead, Kel'Thuz is dead, and Thrall dies too. No keep has been eliminated yet, but it's only a matter of time. With both of the temples about to end up in the hands of Team Bob, it looks like they are going to be the first team in the game to drop one of those keeps. The keep in the mid lane going to be attacked pretty soon. Up at the top, it's actually Muradin who is starting to steal a few of those shots away, doing a pretty decent job at that. But we're having on here Nurok again threatening Zarmany. Even in that 2 versus 4 situation, ATN Fancy is getting a lot out of this. At the top lane, Zeratul is now taking over, and they're not really able to get a keep yet. None of these temples attacks the bot lane, therefore the keep is still standing. Level 20 should hit very soon now as well for ATN Fancy, and they might lose Muradin regardless though. Yeah, Bloomby overstayed his welcome here. Gerd is trying to move in, uses Divine Palm, and well, it goes through. The problem is that, can they actually keep him alive? Wow! Jumps away just barely. They have the level 20s now. A double Storm Shield, double Bolt of the Storm. Bloomby still on the run, but he's getting eliminated. He stayed a bit too long up at the top, and he forced Gerd to use the Divine Palm, and everybody was just trying to keep the Dwarf alive, but he falls. Even with a Hardened Shield. Level 20 versus level 20. All of the keeps are still standing, and even with the shots that we see up there, it shouldn't be able to drop that keep. It's going to be close, but they're not going to be able to eliminate the structure. This game isn't over yet. Muradin is going to be back in another 40 seconds, and the important part, the next temple phase, that's where they will fight with a 5 versus 5, unless, of course, they lose a hero right now. Then it's going to be a completely different story. Darkmork still has a pretty fair amount of seasoned marksman stacks. It is at 31 right now, and it looks like Bob is trying to drop the top keep. They're already moving in for the kill, and they have a Bruiser camp that they just stole away from ATN Fancy to make that happen. The keep is gone. And now they can, of course, try to just follow this up with even more damage in the mid or the bot lane. And there is still a boss as well as 2 Siege Giants camp that they can potentially try and take here. So they're moving from one to another. Muradin is back now, though. So one more team fight in favor of Alternate Fancy could still win them the game, and therefore the access to the grand final of the Enter the Storm tournament. Right now, we're having the Water Elemental back in business. Here comes Muradin. He's moving in already. They burst down the Water Elemental. There's no real threat here just yet. They still need to deal with those Siege Giants to the bot lane. They need to have somebody there to deal with that. I can't believe that they're actually like all moving over to contest this Siege Giant camp to be taken, because if those Siege Giants get just a bit more time, then they will drop the keep. I can't believe that they actually risk that. And they do. They really do. The boss is getting leashed for a second. The Siege Giants are already there. Big mistake, in my opinion, on the side of Alternate Fancy. They are very likely to lose this one. Well, there's already the creep wave, so unless... Oh my god, this is so close. Wow, they are kind of lucky with this one. This could have died. And in this case, it survives for now. But we are having them with level 20 versus 22. We see 2 of the temples activate, another 20 seconds here in the mid lane. We're having also another camp that can be taken, and that's exactly where Team Bob is headed right now. They're going to claim it, and with them taking the camp here, we have the top lane again being pushed. Down here, Aethero Angel and Gera just making sure that nobody is going straight for the boss and trying to take it. We have in the mid lane, Bloomby, Norok, and Crosby in position, and the temple is getting ready here, both of them. Alternate Fancy. Oh, Sundering already used! And Divine Shield, or Divine Palm against Harmony. Actually, in this case, it's the Ancestral Healing after the Frost Armor that they are trying to use. Divine Palm has not been applied just yet. But we have Darkmok rushing away. He's actually getting very low, and here comes the Divine Palm now finally keeping Get Amherd alive. But even with that single warrior setup, they still have the sustain to make this happen, at least for now. But Zarmani is attacked once again and dropped first. Zarmani is down. It's a 5 versus 4, and Bob is on the run. Bob is on the run. Aethero Angel is getting rather low. Can they maybe sneak someone to the top lane to get a few shots in? There's a big camp pushing in right now against the core, but that's not really going to help them. Any other lane would have been better. He could have dropped the keep in the mid lane, or maybe the one at the bot lane, but they have nothing pushing the mid or the bottom lane, so there's very little that they can apply right now. Nobody's moving to the top. Instead, they're just rushing straight into the middle again, trying to fight this one. Thrall from the top lane is moving down to the middle again, trying to help out his teammates. Good condemn. Very nice condemn from Nuro, keeping him close. Bakery is rushing away, but he gets stunned once, he gets stunned twice, and he gets dropped. Oh god, this is a 5 versus 3 now. Alternate Fancy. They might be able to take it here. We have the keeps being attacked in the mid lane. This one is getting extremely low. And up at the top, this is the only lane pushing. They could have tried to sneak around, maybe even go for boss. Try to sneak Zeratul in down here. Zeratul could kill this easily. The problem is, of course, he would lose a lot of time doing it. But now the boss is even being attacked. Oh, if Leoric now dies as well, yeah, he's going to be back a bit faster. Gets killed by Sundering and Darkmog rushing in. Great kill here, but whoa! Thrall doesn't stand a chance against the burst damage here. Does AD though? Nope, he does not. Gerd jumps in with a dash, and now in the last second, Snitch actually blinking away on a Zeratul. 3 heroes down. They got a kill, but they lost one of their heroes. The mid keep is still alive, and at the top lane, Bloomby is about to get the last few shots. Well, is he? No, he's not. He's moving down. He could have waited for another like 1 or 2 seconds, but it looks like they're really trying to get that boss before any of the important heroes that we're seeing for Alternate, for Team Bob are going to be back to business. Here comes again Aethero. Oh, yeah. He's trying to use the Death March or the March of the Black King, but that didn't really work for him. Did not go into Death March here, and that could seal the fate of the boss, at least for now. The bot lane, on the other hand, the keep has been lost, so 2 keeps that have been eliminated. Alternate Fancy is relying on 1 single keep, but a 23-minute boss could crush the hopes of Bob. Bob is in a bit of trouble, and Snitch is moving up to the top lane. He's going to try and secure the last few shots, and to be honest with you, 8 shots, that could that take the keep? Nah, I don't think so. I don't think that 8 shots can really like take the keep here. He's trying to get those, and he gets a few in. That's a little bit of damage. It's gonna be close, actually. And what? Oh my god, guys! That means that one single temple can actually end the game in favor of Bob right now, but that boss is pushing the bot lane, and that is a strong bastard. That's a really strong bastard. Once again, they are trying to move in here, and can they apply the damage? Look at this keep, it's falling so fast, but the boss is on half HP, and they're trying to go for core, aren't they? They have to do something right now. They know that the next temple phase is going to be brutal for them. It should be a single temple. Actually, is it? Could be a double. It could be a triple. The kill against Jaina. The boss is on the core, and they kill Athero as well. The Void Prison already used. I can't believe it. What a match. Darkmog is so low, but so is Bakery. The two orcs at each other's throat. And guys, it looks like this is really gonna be game. Yes, alternate fancy. Unbelievable. They don't have a keep, but they win the game. With the boss, they end it, and they are now in the grand final of the Enter the Storm 3. Unbelievable match here in the winner bracket final. Wow. What a sick series. Again on the last map, it's in the last second alternate fancy that wins it. It was such a close game. I mean, Bob the entire time is able to win these fights. They get the kills racked up. Their numbers are much better there. But when you look at the objective, when you look at the structures, then alternate fancy is just playing the better game. They lose every single keep that they have. Every keep is down. And then alternate fancy just says, boys, we have to get this late game boss right now and then push for win with it. Because if we don't, and the temples activate again, then we are done for. All that Bob needed was a defend there at the core, a defense, and then go for one of the temples. One temple would have been enough to drop that core. Super well done by Alternate Fancy. An incredible series. Not only the last map, but all of the games that we've seen there today were just super amazing. Loved the entire thing. I hope that you enjoyed the commentary as well. Guys, seriously, if you like the series, give it a thumbs up on YouTube, spread the word, tell your friends, because that was amazing Heroes of the Storm action. Subscribe to KhaldorTV if you haven't done it yet, and if you have any comments, then drop them in the comment section. I'm sure that the teams are also going to read through all of the comments here, because that's definitely one of those games that you remember. Now we have Alternate Fancy in the grand final. Bob has another opportunity in the losers bracket. Congratulations to Alternate Fancy, and thanks to both of the teams for this great performance here. Very enjoyable. It was a pleasure casting for you. I hope you enjoyed it as well, and I'm going to see you guys soon with more Heroes of the Storm content here at the End of the Storm. Have a great day, guys, and see you soon. Bye-bye.